This week on TGC News, the new FN509, suppressors from HiPoint, and YouTube is not shutting down gun channels. Sharps Brothers offers some of the most unique and well-built AR-15 and AR-10 receivers around, with models like the Warthog, the Jack, the Hellbreaker, or even the classic-looking Mean Streak. You'll be sure to find something to fit your build. To learn more about these and all of the other products that they make, head over to sharpsbros.com. Welcome back to TGC News, the only gun news show that covers things and stuff. I hope you all had a great holiday weekend. My name is Jon Patton. Now, just a quick update on the TGC panel at NRA annual meeting. I can't tell you about all of the giveaways, but I can tell you we are giving away a Hudson H9, a rifle from Faxon Firearms, an integrally suppressed Savage Mark II, a Condor SS air rifle, a House of Arms, Firehammer chambered in .460 Magnum with a matching Bowers .458 suppressor. Boys and girls, you need to be there. That's not even the entire list, and the best part is you don't have to do anything but show up to win. It's that easy. Just show up. This is happening on April 29th at 1 p.m. and the rest of the info is in a link in the description for you to click. Now, this week's first story is about a company that doesn't usually make a lot of waves. They have a bunch of decent guns, including the FN57, which, despite the hole that it lives in, is actually a really cool gun. They also make the Scar 17, which is one of the best semi-auto 308s on the market. And of course, they make M4s and M16s for the US government. But we haven't seen anything new from them in kind of a long time. That is until the new FN509 hit the market just a few days ago. Essentially, this thing is an upgraded version of the FNS series of striker-fired pistols they released a few years ago. They come with some fairly standard accessories such as replaceable backstrap, 2 magazines in either 10 or 17 round capacity, and some aggressive texturing all over the gun. That includes some nice cocking serrations on the front and rear of the slide, as well as some solid sights that can be used to rack the gun with one hand. Beyond that, all the controls are ambi and military grade barrel and blah 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 blah. More marketing speak for we made this gun properly. Here's the kicker. This gun has the same MSRP as a Gen 4 Glock 19, which is $649. And because you get a more complete gun with like the cocking serrations, good sights, and good texturing, along with more rounds in the mag, I would think that this FN might be the ticket for a lot of you out there. In my opinion, there isn't anything groundbreaking or innovative going on, but having another option besides what we're used to is always a good thing. What do you guys think? Is this FN tickling your fancy, or do you not want to talk about having your fancy being tickled because of last time? And in tragic news, 1 man died and 4 more were injured in an explosion at the well-known Lake City ammo plant in Independence, Missouri. For those that aren't aware, Lake City is where most of the small arms ammo for the US military gets made. You'll often see Lake City brass or like Lake City ammo alongside 5.56 or 7.62 ammo for sale. The deceased is a 55-year-old man named Lawrence Bass from Blue Springs, Missouri. Officials are saying that the incident started in a primer mixing cell, but have not really gone into much detail beyond that. Bass had worked at the plant for 36 years. It really is a sad thing to see when good people get hurt, and even worse when they lose their lives. But making ammunition can be a dangerous thing, and accidents unfortunately do happen. My condolences to the family and friends for Mr. Bass. And because I found it interesting, 2 new products from MKS Supply. The company that owns HiPoint and Inland Firearms released a couple suppressor-related items. First up, DB foam. It's essentially a foam that you spray into the can to shoot it wet. However, the claims being made are that it'll last longer and be cleaner than other methods such as water or wire pulling gel. I've done some testing on another product called Silencer Juice in the past that made similar claims that fell short, and I'm hoping that this does a lot better, especially with the price tag of $30 for a 16-ounce can of the stuff. Besides the foam, MKS released a new suppressor, a 22 suppressor, in fact, made with polymer baffles. Yes, polymer baffles. They're calling the baffles the X baffle, and apparently they've done testing up to 10,000 rounds without any issues. That's pretty impressive considering it weighs in at about 3.5 ounces and should have a street price around $150. I really hope that people start playing with this concept more to keep costs down, but only time will tell. For my NFA lovers in the audience, sound off in the comments about this new suppressor stuff. Get it? Sound off. Now, for our good guy with a gun story for this week, this time the events take place in Salt Lake City, in the home of a former Marine named Brian Sant. Sant was returning home from the late shift at work while his brother and 29-year-old son were asleep in their bedrooms. He heard some noises that he thought were people breaking in, and he was actually right. He got into a verbal altercation with the two men that picked the wrong house. It was then that Sant's son grabbed a handgun and came into the living room to stop the threat. There are no reports on how many times he shot, but one man died and the other left the scene in critical condition. And just like that, another good guy with a gun saves lives. Guys, if you see a story like this that you think needs to be featured here on the show, be sure to send it my way. And of course, be sure to stick around until after the break for a viewer-requested segment. The blasting cap from RE Factor Tactical is built on a FlexFit mesh platform to offer a form-fitting cap that keeps the operator cool during intense activity. Featuring not one, not two, but 3 patch panels, you can morale the out of your head. And they're finally available again in woodland camo. To get 10% off your entire order, click the link in the description to check out refactortactical.com and use the code TGC10. Okay, now, this week, instead of the typical friendly fire, I want to take a minute and address something that was brought up in the comments of last week's show. The topic of YouTube gun channels being demonetized was super hot last week. I didn't cover it at all, and a few of you got pretty upset about that. Let's start with the basics. For those that don't know, monetization, aka ads playing on YouTube videos, is how a lot of content creators earn money on those videos. It's often extremely minimal, like pennies, guys. For a lot of guys, they don't make anything. It's really small, but in some rare cases, people can actually live off of that. In regards to gun channels, it's often the only way people can afford to keep video production moving along. When the revenue disappeared from many channels last week to the point where they were bringing in almost no revenue at all, the panic began. People, including some bigger outlets, were saying that the sky is falling and YouTube is blocking gun content and gun channels were doomed. But the fact of the matter is simple. This is not, I repeat, this is not related to guns. That's why I didn't cover it. It's a bit complex, but I'll try to break it down for you guys. YouTube lost $1.3 billion in ad revenue recently. Yes, $1.3 billion. Now, what that means for the average content creator is that there are no longer enough ads to go around, and therefore YouTube is not placing ads on videos that may have previously had an ad served on them, and therefore the revenue for the creator tanks. There are simply not enough ads to go around. The type of content is irrelevant to this. It's happening to people across the board. You've got the ultra-liberals, the ultra-right, and everybody in between. It doesn't matter. It's happening all over the place. I will also point out that ads not being served and videos being demonetized as a whole are two different things. People are calling them the same, but a demonetized video means you can't put an ad on it. This is just an ad not being served. I mean, this topic goes deep, and I could explain it in length if you guys really want that, but I wanted to keep this centralized. The sensationalist tactic of screaming that this is the result of YouTube shutting down gun channels is flat out wrong. And I don't usually say this kind of stuff, and I don't usually kind of go after people for saying the wrong thing, but guys, this is just not the case. YouTube is not getting rid of gun channels. This is a bigger issue than that. The rabbit hole on why YouTube lost that money goes really deep, but the fact remains, revenue is down for channels regardless of the topics that they cover. I hope that clarifies things for those of you that are out there paying attention. And unfortunately, that is it for this week's show. Guys, you know what to do. If you enjoyed this episode, hit that like button and share it with your friends. If you didn't, let me know down in the comments so we can talk about it. If you haven't yet, please get subscribed. You won't want to miss a single week of the show. And as always, thank you all for watching. We'll see you soon. The shirts worn in today's episode of TGC News were provided by Patriot Patch Company. Click the link in the description to learn more.